Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India News, India's voice to the world. I'm Tanvi Taneja. Coming up in the next hour. Kazan welcomes India's Prime Minister for 16th BRICS Summit. PM Modi says India values close cooperation of BRICS members. New Delhi hosts India-Singapore Defence Ministers Dialogue, the event also marking 10 years of India's Act East policy. US Secretary of State Antony Blinken visits West Asia for new Gaza ceasefire push. Israel and Hezbollah exchange new wave of airstrikes. With just 2 weeks to Election Day, Kamala Harris tries to woo Republicans, while Donald Trump says supernatural hand saved him from being assassinated. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi is on a two-day visit to Russia for the 16th BRICS Summit in Kazan. Earlier in his departure statement this morning, the Prime Minister of India stated that India values close cooperation within BRICS, which has emerged as an important platform for dialogue and discussion on a range of key issues concerning global developmental agenda. The Prime Minister noted that the expansion of BRICS with the addition of new members last year has added to its inclusivity and agenda for the global good. Prime Minister Modi said his visit to Kazan will further reinforce this special and privileged strategic partnership between India and Russia. The Prime Minister said that he is looking forward to meeting other leaders from BRICS as well. So these are Prime Minister's words in his departure statement. Prime Minister Narendra Modi landing in Kazan some time ago, and this BRICS becomes important because it's the first BRICS grouping after the expansion of this grouping in the last summit at Johannesburg. India attaches great importance to this grouping. Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit to Kazan is important for both the BRICS summit as well as to strengthen bilateral relations with Russia. DD India's Jessica Taneja talked to India's ambassador to Russia, Vinay Kumar.
The much anticipated BRICS summit is taking place here in Kazan in Russia. We have with us India's ambassador to Russia, Mr. Vinay Kumar.
Welcome.
Thank you, sir, for speaking to DD India and taking out time for us. What are the broad agendas that we're looking at, particularly in this summit?
In the forthcoming summit, all the issues that BRICS have been talking about in terms of economic cooperation, trade settlement through national currencies, cooperation for environment, sustainable development and climate change, promoting the economic developmental aspirations of global south, reforms of the global institutions to better reflect today's realities. All these issues are on the agenda that the leaders will discuss and decide.
This is going to be Prime Minister's second visit this year to Russia. The last time you and I spoke, many deals were signed, including there were talks about defense, the energy sector, and also expanding to other sectors as well in terms of cooperation. What can be expected this time when the two leaders meet?
The two leaders this time will meet on the sidelines of BRICS summit. They have been meeting very regularly between the summit visit in July in Moscow, and now they have spoken on telephone. Some of the issues that we have been working on during this period is further strengthening of the cooperation in energy, in fertilizer, in export of Indian machine tools, pharma products, Indian food products, and there have been a number of meetings of the joint working groups in these sectors. Connectivity is a very important issue that we have been engaged in, and I think that when the leaders meet, without prejudging what they will talk, they will continue discussion on all these issues of mutual interest, and which will again give a good momentum to the relationship, which is already expanding almost every month.
Thank you, Ambassador, for speaking to DD India and taking our time and giving us those views. Appreciate it.
So DD India's Jessica Taneja is joining us live from Kazan now, where the BRICS summit is unfolding. Let's go across to Jessica. Jessica, what's the atmosphere there in Kazan? Could you shed some light also on the theme of the BRICS summit this time?
Well, the atmosphere here in Kazan is pretty electric. The Prime Minister just left after meeting with the Indian diaspora. But with me right now here is senior journalist Devat Nair. He was with us last time in July as well. The Prime Minister visited, helping us understand the importance of this visit and, of course, what the BRICS summit has to offer. Thank you for joining us on the program, sir. Once again, good to have you. This time at BRICS, if we talk about, what do you think will dominate the discourse when all the BRICS countries, including the ones that have been added, would meet?
Yeah, this time it will be very, very important that our Prime Minister's presence is much more important than the previous visit, because we had 5 more countries have added to BRICS, and BRICS will now shaping as a alternative platform for the countries who are not agreed to the major agenda of the West or so-called the other politics. So Russia is trying to create another platform, which so far it is very successful. And what is our analysis say? What analysis says that Prime Minister Modi and Xi Jinping, the rest of the leaders are coming to the Russia's agenda, and not only the Russia's agenda, it's an agenda of an alternative platform for economic purposes, not for any other purposes. It's an what we see that it's an emerging economic platform.
Right, an emerging economic platform. We've also seen in the recent past with the way, the BRICS countries have been seeking for a different financial order where they could have countries who could trade among each other in local currencies. That's also been something that the BRICS countries have been mulling over for a very long time. In fact, some of them do have have started trading in local currencies. Do you see that picking up momentum?
Yes, very much, very much. Let's take India and Russia. Most of the trade is happening rupee and ruble, and I assume that by 2025 we will have totally rupee-ruble trade payment system will work for even individuals, because Russian banks are trying to introduce their card in India, and the Indian UPI system is. I assume that Prime Minister Modi is going to introduce the UPI card to Russia as well this time. So it will be another platform for. So we don't need to go through any third currency, be it dollar, euro or yuan. We don't have to go. We can directly deal with Russia with ruble and rupee. That's a very great thing, and our target is $100 billion, and I am sure that we will reach $100 billion before 2030.
Okay, Jessica.
When we talk about rupee-ruble trade, we're also talking, as you mentioned, about the UPI that has been introduced in many countries. And also, apart from that, we've seen recently with Malaysia as well, where the loan that was extended was in rupee, the financial assistance. Do you see that India would also want to take forward its UPI system, since it has been something that India, would want to put forth, especially when it comes to our digital public infrastructure, which has gained quite a lot of prominence, not just within BRICS countries, but also in the other part of Global South.
Yes, especially with India being the leader of Global South, our digital transaction is going to grow, and our Prime Minister is so now the agenda which we read it from the agenda of this summit is India is introducing other countries the digital digital currency transactions. I am sure that it will be a success for the whole world, especially for the Global South, which is suffocating of this dollar sanctions and all kinds of stuff, which is unnecessarily putting on countries which I don't know for what reasons they are playing that game, but this will be a very big release for all the Global South.
Okay, Jessica,
and India is taking initiative on that. That's very important.
Jessica, coming to you now. In his departure statement, Prime Minister Narendra Modi said that his visit to Kazan will further reinforce the special and privileged strategic partnership between India and Russia. Of course, we know that several bilateral, in fact, are expected and lined up in the day. Prime Minister Modi is expected to meet President Putin. Then he's also expected to meet with Iran's Prime Minister. So we will keep you lined up with what all is happening in Kazan. For now, let's move on and tell you a little bit more about the BRICS grouping. So we know that last time in Johannesburg, the BRICS was expanded from 5 to 9 members, and the new members included at that summit were Egypt, Ethiopia, Iran and the United Arab Emirates. So Russia wants the BRICS summit to showcase to the West that Moscow is not isolated. Now, for the European Union's perspective on the BRICS summit, we are joined by our DW correspondent Chiponda Chimbelu in Berlin. Hi, Chiponda. So how is the EU looking at the BRICS summit hosted by Russia?
Thanks for having me. Well, there is concern in the EU because the BRICS countries and the bloc have divergent approaches when it comes to the conflicts in Ukraine and the Middle East. And that has meant differences on UN resolutions and challenges getting sanctions imposed successfully. For instance, despite the fact that Russia is the world's most sanctioned country, it has still managed to raise money for its war chest. Now that's because Western countries have been unable to get many other countries on board when it comes to isolating Russia. And the BRICS group is growing. At the beginning of this year, it admitted 4 new members: Egypt, Ethiopia, Iran, and the United Arab Emirates. And according to some estimates, the BRICS Plus now accounts for more than a third of global GDP. That is more than double the EU's.
And Russian President Vladimir Putin is hosting this year's summit. Is he trying to send a signal to the West? What can we expect from the summit?
Obviously, for him, this summit is really about showing the world that his country isn't isolated. The Kremlin has had to turn to other partners to make up for what it has lost amid Western sanctions. Trade with the BRICS group has been increasing. India accounted for more than a third of Russian crude oil exports last year. And last July, it surpassed China to become Russia's top oil buyer. That's because Russia has had to seek new buyers for its energy exports. And it has been selling crude at a discount because of the G7 oil price cap. Meanwhile, refined oil imports from India to the EU grew to record levels last year. That means that European consumers have most likely been buying Russian oil products via India, despite the sanctions, and they may not be purchasing them at a discount.
Thank you, Chipola, joining there from DW Berlin. So India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi is in Russia for the BRICS 2024 summit and will meet Russian President Vladimir Putin also in the day. So here's a look at the previous BRICS summits attended by Prime Minister Modi over the past years.
The leaders of BRIC countries met for the first time in St. Petersburg in Russia on the margins of G8 Outreach Summit in July 2006. After a series of high-level meetings, the first BRIC summit was held in Ekaterinburg, Russia on 16th June 2009. In September 2010, BRIC Group was renamed as BRICS after South Africa was accepted as a full member at the BRIC Foreign Ministers' meeting in New York. Accordingly, South Africa attended the third BRIC summit in Sanya City in China on 14th April 2011. A further expansion of BRICS took place in 2024 with 5 new members, which includes Egypt, Ethiopia, Iran, Saudi Arabia, and United Arab Emirates. However, Saudi Arabia is yet to fully participate in the group's deliberations. India took over the BRICS chairmanship from Russia and held it until 31st December 2021. This was the 13th BRICS summit. The theme and approach of India's BRICS chairmanship was BRICS at 15, intra-BRICS cooperation for community, consolidation and consensus. Many firsts were achieved during India's BRICS chairship, which included BRICS Digital Health Summit, first BRICS Water Ministers meeting, adoption of BRICS Counter-Terrorism Action Plan, launch of BRICS Alliance for Green Tourism, operationalization of BRICS Agricultural Research Platform, and signing of agreement on BRICS Remote Sensing Satellite Constellation. On January 1st, 2024, Russia has taken over as the BRICS chair. The 16th BRICS summit under Russia's chairship will be held from 22nd to 24th October in Kazan in Russia. The theme of the summit is strengthening multilateralism for just global development and security. More than 250 BRICS meetings and other events have been proposed by Russia. The major activities for 2024 include integration of invited countries as full members of BRICS, further development of BRICS partner country model, and list of prospective partner countries and report by the next summit. The other achievements of BRICS cooperation include the group's flagship project, the BRICS New Development Bank. The first president of the bank was from India. NDB, the National Development Bank, has been a resounding success in providing a development-oriented bank catering to the EMDCs. EMDCs, BRICS Contingent Reserve Arrangement, BRICS Vaccine R&D Center, BRICS Remote Sensing Satellite Constellation, amongst others. Kazan BRICS Summit will provide an opportunity to member leaders to further strengthen the cooperation at a time when the world is facing 2 conflicts between Russia and Ukraine, as well as between Israel and Hamas. Bureau Report, DD India.
So, a lot on BRICS agenda at this time. You're watching DD India News Hour, still to come on the show. US consults allies about North Korea sending its troops to help Russia in Ukraine, calls it a dangerous move. Germany, Qatar aim to deepen ties as Olaf Scholz hosts Emir Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani in Berlin tomorrow. And Cubans bank pots to protest crippling days-long blackout as Storm Oscar brings historic flooding.
Complex issues, hidden agendas, twists and turns, strategic games. We think all dots are linked, we just need to connect them. Join me every week as I connect the dots to unravel hidden designs in statecraft, mysteries, and decode issues that matter to you. Watch Connecting the Dots with me at these times on DD India.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India News Hour. I am Tanvi Taneja. US Secretary of State Antony Blinken has arrived in Israel on Tuesday, the first stop of a wider West Asia tour aimed at reviving Gaza ceasefire talks. The top US diplomat's 11th trip to the region since beginning of the conflict comes as the Israeli military intensified its campaign in the Palestinian enclave as well as in Lebanon against militant group Hezbollah. Blinken's planned week-long trip will include a stop in Jordan on Wednesday and Doha. The focus of the discussion would be finding ways to end the conflict, plans for the enclave after the fighting ends, and how to improve humanitarian assistance. However, experts say that any breakthrough ahead of the looming US election looks elusive. The visit comes also on a day when Hezbollah launched volleys of rockets at two key bases near Tel Aviv and a naval base west of Haifa. Hezbollah said that it had fired rockets at the Glilot base used by the Unit 8200 of Israel's military intelligence and the Nirit area in Tel Aviv's suburbs. The group said it also fired rockets at a naval base outside of the port city of Haifa further north. There were no immediate reports of casualties. However, Israeli authorities declared a state of emergency in the Tel Aviv area and all air traffic at the Ben Gurion airport has been halted. These developments come after a heavy night of Israeli strikes on Lebanon's south and the southern suburbs of its capital. The explosion in Beirut before daybreak caused sparks to fly into the air and released a black plume of smoke. The Israeli strikes in Beirut's southern suburbs included one near the Rafiq Hariri University Hospital, the capital's main government hospital. Meanwhile, India sent humanitarian assistance for the people of Palestine through the United Nations Relief and Works Agency. The first tranche of assistance, comprising 30 tons of medicine and food items, has departed on Tuesday. The consignment includes a wide range of essential medicines and surgical supplies, dental products, general medical items and high-energy biscuits. On to Europe now. German Chancellor Olaf Scholz will host Qatar's Emir, Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani in Berlin on Tuesday. The talks aim at deepening economic and diplomatic ties between the two regions. Global security issues are also on the agenda of the meet. The Emir will be accompanied by Qatari Energy Minister Saad Al Kaabi. Qatar is a strategic partner for Germany as an alternative source of energy after the Russia-Ukraine conflict began in the year 2022. Qatar is also a key investor in the German economy. And at the crossroads of democracy, the 2024 United States presidential election is now 2 weeks away. As the world watches, America stands at a pivotal moment in its history. The elections promise to be a defining contest, shaping the nation's trajectory for generations to come. The battle is close. Find more in DD India's Antra Sinha's report.
Things are heating up in the US. The 2024 United States presidential elections are set to be held on the 5th of November. It has become the hottest topic for political enthusiasts globally. With the last leg of campaigning going on now, both presidential candidates, US Vice President Kamala Harris and former US President Donald Trump, are putting their heart and soul into the process, along with sharp attacks at each other. A recent Reuters poll has indicated that with the US drawing nearer to the November 5 presidential election, Democratic Vice President Kamala Harris leads Republican Donald Trump by just 3 percentage points, with 45% to 42%. As the race for the presidency heats up, Harris and Trump conveyed a very different message about the polls, with Harris saying that Trump is a threat to democracy.
Imagine Donald Trump, based on everything we know about him and everything we see now and before, imagine him with no guardrails. Because all of those folks who worked with him before, they're not those who held him back, who attempted to ensure that he would follow the law, are no longer there.
While Donald Trump rejects the notion of being a threat to democracy, rather argues that it is Democrats who are the real threat to democracy. Having survived multiple assassination attempts in the past, he has said that God has saved him for a purpose.
But as I look back at my life's journey and events, I now recognize that it's been the hand of God leading me to where I am today. And my faith took on new meaning on July 13th in Butler, Pennsylvania, where I was knocked to the ground, essentially, by what seemed like a supernatural hand. And I would like to think that God saved me for a purpose, and that's to make our country greater than ever before.
With opinion polls showing a close race, the two candidates are picking up the pace. Their frenzied campaign schedules underlining the importance of small pockets of voters that could put their candidate over the top. Antara Sinha for DD India.
On to the Asia-Pacific, South Korea has pledged countermeasures in line with the level of military cooperation between Russia and North Korea. The comments came as South Korea's presidential office urged Pyongyang to immediately withdraw North Korean troops that Seoul says have been dispatched to Russia to help in its war with Ukraine. A report. Russia-North Korea military cooperation is now the talk of the hour for global leaders. This comes after China, South Korea and US have voiced concerns over North Korea's troop deployment to fight alongside Russia in Ukraine. The US stressed that it is a dangerous move for North Korea to send its troops to Russia.
We have seen reports the DPRK has sent forces and is preparing to send additional soldiers to Ukraine to fight alongside Russia. If true, this marks a dangerous and highly concerning development and an obvious deepening of the DPRK-Russia military relationship. We are consulting with our allies and partners on the implications of such a dramatic move.
The comments came as South Korea's presidential office urged Pyongyang to immediately withdraw North Korean troops that Seoul says have been dispatched to Russia for the war with Ukraine. South Korea has also pledged countermeasures over North Korea-Russia military cooperation.
The government is calling for the immediate withdrawal of the North Korean troops, and if the current military collusion between North Korea and Russia continues, we will not tolerate but act firmly with the international community. The government will execute gradual steps in response in line with the developments in the Russia-North Korea military cooperation following the deployment of North Korean troops.
On Friday, South Korea's National Intelligence Service said North Korea has sent 1,500 special operation forces to Russia earlier this month to support Moscow. However, both Moscow and Pyongyang have denied the claims, and US officials have said that they are still investigating the reports. Bureau Report, DD India. Cubans took to streets in large numbers protesting against the unending power outage woes complicated by the tropical storm Oscar that made a landfall on Sunday. Protesters were seen banging pots, chanting, "Turn on the lights," as the island country is reeling under stark power outage and unending blackouts due to recent grid failures, the latest being on Monday. This also has affected the tourism industry and workers alike. The nationwide blackout is adding to the concerns of people as they are also suffering with the shortages of essential items due to Storm Oscar. Earlier on Monday, Cuban President Miguel Diaz-Canel stated that 90% power had been restored to the capital, Havana. Still to come on DD India News Hour. Indian coastal states of West Bengal and Odisha on high alert as cyclone Dana approaches. India Pavilion inaugurated at MIPCOM 2024 in Cannes, France, with the theme showcasing the future of global entertainment. Protesting junior doctors call off their 17-day-long hunger strike in Kolkata. We'll tell you why. You're watching DD India News Hour. I am Tanvi Taneja. A quick look at the headlines we're tracking at this hour. Kazan welcomes India's Prime Minister for the 16th BRICS Summit. PM Modi says India values close cooperation of BRICS members. New Delhi hosts India-Singapore Defence Ministers' Dialogue, the event also marking 10 years of India's Act East policy. US Secretary of State Antony Blinken visits West Asia for new Gaza ceasefire push. Israel and Hezbollah exchange new wave of airstrikes. And with just 2 weeks to Election Day, Kamala Harris tries to woo Republicans, while Donald Trump says supernatural hand saved him from being assassinated. On to New Delhi now. India's Defence Minister Rajnath Singh and his Singaporean counterpart Dr. Ning Ing Hen held the 6th India-Singapore Defence Ministers' Dialogue in New Delhi on Tuesday. The event also marks 10 years of India's Act East policy.
Singapore Minister of Defence Dr. Eng Eng Hen was accorded Guard of Honour at the Manekshaw Centre in Delhi. The two defence ministers later co-chaired the 6th India-Singapore Defence Ministers' Dialogue. Speaking on the occasion, India's Minister of Defence Rajnath Singh said this bilateral meeting follows Prime Minister Narendra Modi's successful visit to Singapore earlier this year. He stressed that defence cooperation is an important area of the bilateral relations between the two countries.
हमारे देशों के बीच बढ़ती निकटता का ये प्रमाण है। ये मीटिंग ऐसे समय में हो रही है कि भारत अपनी एक्ट ईस्ट पॉलिसी का 1 दशक पूरा कर रहा है, जिसमें सिंगापुर ने महत्वपूर्ण भूमिका निभाई है। इस रीजन के देशों ने इकोनॉमिक कोऑपरेशन, कल्चरल टाई और स्ट्रेटजिक कनेक्टिविटी के विकास में भी आपकी बहुत ही अहम भूमिका रही। हमारी बायलैटरल पार्टनरशिप का एक महत्वपूर्ण क्षेत्र है जो तीनों सर्विसेज के बीच फोकस डिफेंस कोऑपरेशन मैकेनिज्म्स और कंटिन्यूअस एंगेजमेंट के माध्यम से ये लगातार बढ़ रहा है।
The Defence Minister of Singapore is visiting India with a top military brass that includes the colonel rank officers of all the 3 services. Reciprocating at the opening remarks of the Defence Minister of India, Dr. Hen said that for Singapore, India has always been part of the East. This meeting would surely strengthen the bilateral ties between the two nations. He said the meeting aims to carry forward defense cooperation between the two countries. Both sides are expected to exchange views on regional and global issues of shared interest. Vishal Baristo's report for DT India.
Earlier, the visiting dignitary Dr. Hen laid a wreath at the National War Memorial in New Delhi and also signed the visitor's book. So the Singaporean Defence Minister is on a 3-day visit to India, and the India-Singapore Defence Dialogue also marking the 10 years of India's Act East policy. The India-Singapore Defence Dialogue aims to strengthen India-Singapore defence ties. German Chancellor Olaf Scholz will pay an official visit to India from October 24th for the 7th intergovernmental consultations. The German Chancellor, along with Prime Minister Narendra Modi, will co-chair the 7th intergovernmental consultations on October 25th. The two leaders will also hold bilateral talks to discuss enhanced security and defence cooperation, greater opportunities for the mobility of talent, deeper economic cooperation, and green and sustainable development partnership to collaborate in the areas of emerging and strategic technologies as well. The discussions will also focus on important regional and global developments. Both the leaders will also address the 18th Asia-Pacific Conference of German Business being held in New Delhi on October 25th. About 650 top business leaders and CEOs from Germany, India and other countries are expected to participate in the event. Chancellor Scholz has visited India twice last year for a bilateral state visit in February 2023 and to attend the G20 Leaders Summit in September 2023. India and Germany have a strategic partnership since 2000. The two countries are celebrating 50 years of science and technology collaboration this year. Hardeep Singh Puri, Minister of Petroleum and Natural Gas of India, participated in the 7th Global Sustainable Technology and Innovation Community Conference today. Speaking on oil prices, the minister said that there is no shortage of oil in the world and it depends on global factors. The conference was held in New Delhi and aims at accelerating technological solutions for SDGs.
It depends on global factors. One thing is very clear, there is no shortage of oil in the world. Today, more and more oil is coming on the market. There are other factors like geopolitical tensions, etc. So what happens? There's no shortage of oil. But if there's tension in one part of the world, then the cost of, if you have to take a longer route, then the cost of the freight cost, the insurance freight cost, that will go up. But today, let us all, including the fourth distinguished members of the fourth estate, the press, let's all say that, better sense prevails, the call for peace, etc., which our Prime Minister has been making from every forum, that it's time for diplomacy and for finding solutions.
Indian Army's Sudarshan Chakra Corps under the Southern Command is conducting exercise Swavalamban Shakti at the Babina Field firing ranges in the northern state of Uttar Pradesh. The exercises are being held in a bid to bolster combat capabilities through the integration of cutting-edge and emerging technologies. The exercise focuses on ensuring preparedness for future conflict scenarios and play a pivotal role in shaping the force's modernization efforts. Around 1,800 personnel, 210 armoured vehicles, 50 specialist vehicles and various aviation assets participated in the drill. In addition, over 50 new technology equipment from more than 40 leading industry partners, including DRDO laboratories and innovative defence startups, are being showcased at the event. More news from India. The Semiconductor Laboratory SCL Startup Meet 2024 underscores its capabilities and expertise, fostering global collaboration between startups and research institutions within the semiconductor ecosystem. The event addresses key areas such as VLSI design, technology, fabrication, testing and packaging, with the aim of driving innovation and growth in the industry. By supporting domestic startups, this initiative strengthens India's local manufacturing capacity, reducing dependence on imports. As the country's only integrated device manufacturer, SCL offers startups the access to its advanced infrastructure, accelerating product development and global market entry.
If India is to achieve its position as the third largest economy in the world, it cannot do without, without significant contribution from the manufacturing industry. And I mean, we as a part of the electronic industry have largely to focus on the electronic manufacturing part of it. We have made significant contribution in the past few years. We have been growing at a CAGR of almost 14%. And we have become actually the net exporters of the, from being the almost 70% importers of mobile 10 years back, we have presently become almost 100% self-sufficient in mobile. And we are also exporting mobiles and also exporting electronics to the extent of roughly $29 billion US.
The Startup Meet is a unique event which provides a platform for Indian startups to connect, collaborate and to utilize India's own foundry. The idea was to tap potential of startups and showcasing the potential of the extraordinary talent which our country possesses in this field.
Some weather updates now. Indian coastal states of West Bengal and Odisha are on high alert as Cyclone Dana approaches and is expected to make a landfall on October 24th. According to the Met Department, Cyclone Dana is likely to strike the North Odisha and Bengal coasts between Puri and Sagar Island during Thursday night and early Friday morning as a severe cyclonic storm, in view of which a red warning has been issued of heavy to very heavy rainfall with isolated extremely heavy rainfall and thunderstorm with lightning. Fishermen have been advised not to venture into the sea between October 23rd and 25th. The weather system is also expected to bring light to moderate rain along the coasts and in South Bengal, including Kolkata, beginning Wednesday. India Pavilion was inaugurated at the MIPCOM 2024, the global market for entertainment content across all platforms in Cannes, France. India's Ministry of Information and Broadcasting and the Ministry of Commerce and Industry jointly inaugurated the pavilion on Tuesday. The ceremony was graced by the CEO of Prasar Bharati, Gaurav Dwivedi, besides others who were accompanied by a ministerial delegation, highlighting India's collaborative efforts in the global media space. With the MIB's strategic focus on building international partnerships and its Create in India brand message, India is positioning itself as a global content hub ready to shape the future of entertainment worldwide. Next, we take a look at other stories making news in India. Protesting junior doctors called off their 17-day-long hunger strike in Kolkata on Monday after being urged by the parents of the trainee medic who was allegedly raped and murdered at the RG Kaur Hospital and Medical College. The doctors earlier held a 2-hour-long meeting with Eastern State of Bengal's Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee. The doctors also announced the withdrawal of the general medical strike they had earlier called. The air quality index of the national capital of India is dipping to worse numbers. The Delhi NCR region was seen engulfed in a thin layer of fog as the AQI crossed 300. Now, the capital will witness the implementation of GRAP with stringent measures towards activities that can add to air pollution. To tackle the rush during the festive season this year, Northern Railways will operate around 3,050 trips of special trains. These special trains are operated from 1st October to 30th November 2024. The railways will also run unreserved trains to clear the extra rush as per need on a real-time basis. India's domestic and international airlines received bomb threats on Monday night. Around 20 flights were given threats, including Vistara, Indigo and Air India. Of these, 10 are from Indigo Airlines. A spokesperson from Vistara Airlines also confirmed that some of its flights received security threats on social media. You're watching DD India News. Are still to come on the show. Striking employees discuss Boeing offer of 35% pay hike over 4 years ahead of a vote on it on Wednesday. And in sports, Indian skipper Harmanpreet Kaur has been named in the ICC Women's T20 World Cup team of the tournament. And we also show you some abstract paintings made by a 3-year-old German kid.
Geopolitics and trade deals. Economic challenges amid development. Hard work and the path to prosperity. It's the economy, always. Between walkers, money is what money does and says. Supply creates its own demand. Between the bulls pulls and bears tears. When supply chains globalization and India rises to the podium. We'll get you centered with the economic brief at 8 p.m. every Thursday on DD India.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India News. I'm Tanvi Taneja. India's Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman is in the United States, where she was hosted by Lynn Martin, President of the New York Stock Exchange, on her visit to the largest bourse in the world. The Finance Minister also took a tour of the National Historic Landmark and looked at the aspects of trading at the New York Stock Exchange. The bourse displayed 11 Indian companies trading. Addressing a gathering at the NYSE, Sitharaman emphasized India's emerging role in the New World Order.
By 2047, as India celebrates 100 years of independence, we will have a chance to define a new era of prosperity, not just for our own citizens, but for the global community as well. India's role in the world is expanding, and we stand ready to engage constructively with the international community. While there are challenges ahead, there are also abundant opportunities for India to lead the way, not just in economic terms, but in shaping the global discourse on technology, sustainability, and inclusive growth.
India's Civil Aviation Scheme, meant to make air travel more accessible and affordable, UDAN, has been extended by another 10 years after completing 8 years on Monday. On the occasion, India's Civil Aviation Minister Ram Mohan Naidu announced plans to make hoax threats made against airlines a cognizable offence after over 100 bomb threats have been reported in the week gone by. The government plans to amend safety laws and add hoax callers to the no-fly list.
In a major move to tighten aviation security, India's Civil Aviation Minister Kinjarapu Ram Mohan Naidu has announced strict action against hoax threats targeting Indian airlines. To combat this growing menace, the government is planning to make hoax threats a cognizable offence.
At multiple levels, we have been having these meetings, and everyone we have taken in suggestions, opinions of all of them. And from the ministry, we have thought of some legislative action also, if it is required, which direction should be moved in. And we have come to the conclusion that there are two areas that we can explore. One is the amendment in aircraft security rules. Once we catch hold of the perpetrator who is behind this, we want to put them in the no-fly list. We are definitely pushing forward to bring a change in the Suwaska Act also, so that it addresses for these kind of offences which happen when the flight is on ground, so that we can take strict action on them. We can make it cognizable offence.
The government has announced an extension of the UDAN scheme also for another 10 years. India's airport network has doubled from 74 operational airports in 2014 to an impressive 157 in 2024, with the bold vision of expanding to 350 airports by 2047.
So taking a cue from the success that UDAN has achieved over the past 8 years, we are envisioning the UDAN scheme for furthermore 10 years. We want to take it forward for 10 years because in the next 5 years we are planning to start 50 more airports or enhance the capacity of the existing airports. We are making continuous changes in the policy to encourage more MRO sector to come into the country. We have done that for a long time, and now we are speeding up that process. Industry is also happy with the changes or the policy changes that the government is making. So we see a growth that what is $2 billion industry right now in the country for MRO is going to grow up to $4 billion. It's going to double itself in the next 7 years.
Over the past 8 years, 601 routes have been operationalized, connecting 71 airports, 13 heliports and 2 water aerodromes. This has led to the travel of more than 1.44 crore passengers on more than 2.8 lakh flights. UDAN has played a vital role in the rise of regional airlines, generating jobs and boosting tourism. Tapush Bhattacharya's report, Daily India.
Next news of the Boeing labour strike. About 33,000 workers will vote on the contract proposal on Wednesday after more than a month-long work stoppage, which has halted production of models including its best-selling 737 MAX narrow-body jets. The new contract proposal announced on Saturday includes a 35% pay hike over 4 years, a $7,000 ratification bonus, a reinstated incentive plan and an enhanced contribution to workers' retirement plans. The workers say the new wage increase and the ratification bonus are an improvement over the previous offer, but the salary hike still falls short of a 40% pay rise over 4 years demanded by the machinists union. Workers are pessimistic about the proposal passing on. You're watching DD India News Hour. Time now for some sporting action. First news from cricket. Indian team captain Harmanpreet Kaur has made it to the ICC Women's T20 World Cup 2024 team of the tournament on the back of a strong batting show. In an otherwise disappointing campaign for the Indian team, skipper Kaur was the standout performer for the women in blue. She was India's top scorer and the 4th highest overall in the tournament, scoring 150 runs in 4 innings. She scored 250s and had a strike rate of 133 33.92, which was the 5th best in the tournament. The list was dominated by finalists, as champions New Zealand has 3 members in the team and runners-up South Africa also has 3. So recently crowned Women's T20 World Champion New Zealand announced its 15-member squad for the upcoming 3-match ODI series against India beginning in Ahmedabad on Thursday. The team will once again be captained by Sophie Devine. Meanwhile, wicketkeeper batter Polly Inglis earned her maiden call-up to the White Ferns on the back of consistent performance in recent times. Head coach Ben Sawyer said the selection of Inglis was a nod to the future and that she was really excited to introduce Polly for her first tour. Sawyer also highlighted the importance of the India series for his side. Pacer Rosemary Meyer, who sustained a back injury earlier this year, has been rested as part of a long-term rehabilitation. Meyer and off-spinner Leigh Kasparik are the only 2 players missing from the T20 World Cup winning squad. Former skipper Kane Williamson is set to miss New Zealand's second test against India in Pune starting on Thursday as he continues to recover from his injury. The Kiwis on Sunday secured victory in the first test in Bengaluru without the master batsman who has remained in New Zealand recovering from the injury he sustained in a recent series against Sri Lanka. Black Caps coach Gary Stead revealed that Kane's recovery is going well, but he's not 100% fit. Hence, they are being cautious and trying their best to make him available for the 3rd test. The 3rd and final test between India and New Zealand will start from November 1st in Mumbai. Next action from tennis. The All India Tennis Association said that India will host 4 ATP Challenger Tour events next year starting from February 3rd in Chennai. The federation confirmed in a post on X saying that after Chennai, the next 3 tournaments will be held in Bengaluru from February 10th to 16th, later in Pune from February 17th to 23rd, and in Delhi from February 24th to March 2nd. While the first 3 will be ATP 100 events, each offering 100 ranking points along with the prize money of $17,500. The one in Delhi will provide 75 ranking points and $11,200 as prize money to the singles champion. The same 4 cities had hosted Challenger Tour events earlier this year. Triumph in Chennai helped Sumit Nagal make his top 100 debut in the ATP rankings. And let's now draw some inspiration from 3-year-old Laurent Schwarz, who makes amazing paintings. He accidentally discovered his passion for abstract painting about a year ago during a family trip. This little Bavarian also owns an Instagram account featuring his work that has gathered about 90,000 followers. Recently, many of his paintings were sold for several thousand euros. Laurent Schwarz there making some brilliant artwork with colour. That's all for this edition of DD India News Hour. Do let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. Connect with us on our different social media handles. And for those on the go, you can catch all the latest news and updates from India and the world on our DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. You can scan the QR code on the screen to download now. So we'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Tanvi Taneja. From all of us here in New Delhi, thank you for watching. Namaskar.